You are listening to Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. This is Tuesday, so we usually do this early in the week. We post it immediately to our Patreon supporters, and then it comes out on Friday to all the rest of you. And as we look at where Bitcoin is right now, this 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart, we see that Bitcoin is down 0.40%. So again, as we look at where we are in the week at this point in time, don't have a lot for volume. We look at where things are on the weekly trend itself and on the weekly candle, and we've got a very small little doji there. Now again, when we look at Bitcoin, let me pull this down. You know, we had Bitcoin all the way back on the week beginning the 11th of March, pound up to $73,794. Then it dropped way back. And when it does that, it is hard for it to take off again. It can, but when you have all this buildup and then it blows off the steam, typically doesn't. It tried and then failed. Now, I am hoping that it will continue to go down. We could end up with a doji this week. Who knows? We see it, the last two-day candles, we see where things are trying to push up. But again, not getting above this very weak weekly trend line. Maybe it'll die there. Like I've said several times, I'm hoping, and we see this volume over the last 2 weeks, that Bitcoin is going to meander downwards for a while before it takes off again. I want it to reset cleanly with some down moves. You know, the last time this happened, it was only 2 weeks. Then it took off again. Could be that situation for us again. I hope it's not. But again, we will be paying attention, particularly based upon immediate prior performance, and we'll see sort of which way it goes, which way it leads us. Now, let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, popped up to its most recent high back on that week beginning the 11th of March. Similar to Bitcoin, meandered sideways, rolled over stronger and longer. And we see now this week it is up for the day about 0.5% right now. But we see Ethereum below that prior trend line, a better trend line than an almost flat one for Bitcoin. We see volume is still very low. So we'll see which way it's going. Likewise, you know, great to get in on all this volume when things took off. You know, if you got in the worst spot that first week of February, but, you know, that was starting the 5th of February. If you got in the worst spot at $2,500.40, hit a high of $4,095.04. Just absolutely beautiful. Now, let's look at Bitwise. Of course, we tell you what this is each and every week. It's the top 10 cryptocurrencies weighted as per market share. That's as fast as I can make it. What do we see going on there? Well, we can see a little bit of a green candle after a red candle last week. Again, what are the cryptocurrencies doing? Pretty much sliding sideways, up 0.81% for the day. So not much going on there. That is the crypto world as far as the three things we look at: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Bitwise, which gives us sort of the overview. And typically, because Bitcoin is the big dog, since this is weighted as per market share, Bitcoin is the one that carries the load. Then you see Ethereum follow many times with it. And then, of course, everything else along the way. Now, let's move from cryptocurrencies to commodities. And we've got an interesting commodity list to show you. Copper pulling back 1.49% for the day. Most recent high was hit last week. We do see, you know, we've got nice volume already up to the average already. I mean, this is amazing how much volume there is in copper. We see it really blowing off steam today, and we'll see how that continues to continue for the rest of the week. Will that volume, and again, the reason it's green, it doesn't mean it's up volume, because we can see down volume there. A little bit up volume on Monday, but down volume on Tuesday. Remember, the color of the rectangle that we have at the bottom of the screens, all three of them for volume, is based upon how the candle opens. This candle opened higher than the prior close. That's all that is telling you. So we'll see how copper continues to move. What about silver? Just like gold blowing off a lot of steam, silver has done the same. Now, for silver to recover after this much of a blow off, it hit its most recent high the week beginning the 8th of April. Then the 15th of April, it slowed down quite a bit. And now it has just blown through the trend line. We got a red down candle. It's up right now 0.16%. So again, not much. And you can see how silver just plummeted hard on Monday afternoon, a little bit further down in the morning on Tuesday. And then, the Heikin Ashi, you say it was down in the morning and in the afternoon. I didn't notice the candle here. This is where it is now. Again, it's pushed itself up a little bit. It's not to the lows it was this morning. So keep a close eye on things, and we will continue to follow silver and see where it leads us. But again, we're not going to be surprised if it keeps moving in the direction of gold. Now let's look at, this is another interesting change. After weeks and weeks of up movement, a few sideways slides here, but last week was a sideways slide, and now look at all that volume where, again, the change was starting to take place, had a lot of volume where it reached its most recent high the week before. That was respectively the 15th and the 8th of April. And this week down. So if you are shorting, if you're shorting fuel, in this case gasoline, that might be the direction for it. So you might look at a practice trade going down. What about oil? Now, oil started showing us that last week, did it not? We had lots of volume the week before the 8th, and then last week went to a red spinning top with high volume. And again, busted through the trend line. The entry point was last week, but again, not too late for you to look at a jumping in point on a practice trade this week. And then again, the other stuff is just sort of meandering along. I told you about gold, compared to silver. Of course, we cover gold every day. Don't typically look at that, but I wanted you to see where it was. And let's go from cryptocurrencies and commodities now to world currencies. Let's look first at the British pound. It is up a little bit for the day, 0.79%, but over the last many weeks, it has been heading down. It's already hit a lower low this week. We'll see how this latest little pop-up in the market, of course, so much of this seems to be related to the news that the U.S. was pinning another multi-billion-dollar check to Ukraine. And how long will that interest in news in the market affect things? If that's actually what it is, I don't know. I just read the charts. I don't pay attention necessarily a lot to what the news is. I just see what the effects are on the marketplace, because you never know. Good news can cause the market to go down. Bad news can cause the market to go up. Either one can cause the market to do sideways or go in the same direction. You never know. That's why we follow the charts, not the noise. What are we doing with the euro? The euro is up for the day, 0.51%. You can see where the euro popped up last Wednesday in the morning and afternoon, then slid sideways pretty much until today, where it has pushed through the weekly trend line on the half day. Got a doji there for the first day of the latest 2-day candle. So we'll just keep an eye on things and see where the euro goes. We look at the yen, down for the day, 0.02%, so just a little bit down. The yen's just been hanging around this bottom, continuing to sort of meander down. And again, just sort of there in the doldrums, with that peak volume last week. Well, we saw the peak volume when we had that turnover where the yen moved up with average volume, higher than average volume. That would have been the week beginning the 4th of March, the 11th of March. And then that high volume when things turned over, and it's been jamming down since then. Lastly, we'll look at the Swiss franc. It is down. It's about flat, 0.01%, just like the yen. But the Swiss franc, again, has been moving down since a sideways slide that we saw on the dojis the week beginning the 4th of March and the 11th of March, and then super high volume where the Swiss franc cranked over going down. That is charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies. I love covering these things every week because they're just different. Something else for you to look at and let you know that you can follow interesting things, whether they're world currencies, they are cryptocurrencies, or they are commodities. All sorts of stuff out there, ETFs across the board, and any number of things. Whatever you're interested in, why not find the ETF that is set up for it? There are crazy ones out there. And what you find interesting, and maybe you've got a little inside knowledge, maybe it's a business you're in, and you have a feel for what's going on. Well, my friends, by all means, use every source available to you that is legal. That's it. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.